Hi YouTube pipe community, OTC Piper here. Just got off work and there was something interesting that occurred during my shift, and I was going to put out a little video and talk about it while I smoke a little pipe. Got my Georgetown loaded with some Prince Albert, keeping it simple. Get one more light on that. Okay. Before we get to the topic of interest today, there's a couple things that I wanted to bring up and that I started to notice last night and the night before. I put out a video with my pipe nook area where I'll do some videos when I'm doing some of the deeper topics and things like that. And it's also where I go, when I just want to read a book and smoke my pipe and relax, for the evening. And I started to realize last night how absolutely addictive it was to have this thing set up, and how much I just want to get back here and get in my pipe nook and read my books. I'd always been a book reader and everything, but when I set this up, I have a dedicated area that I go, and I light a pipe, read something, and I think it's good to have that area that you set aside for just times that you relax to the pipe, read a book or something like that. And I was thinking it wasn't necessarily my pipe I was looking forward to. It was just the whole experience. And I never really realized how important it was to have a setup like, that I call my little area. And it's not really that big a deal. It's just a little nook. I've got out here behind the camera is just a workshop that I'm trying to get everything cleaned out of and into more of a lounge area. But I just wanted to throw that out there and encourage everyone to think about that. Where what area it is that you set aside for your time to relax, contemplate things, enjoy a pipe, whatever it is that you like to do. I, for one, developed the rule that I don't allow my devices back there. As I was sitting there one day and wouldn't read my book or anything. I was watching something on Netflix or something like that, and I realized, I could take that phone anywhere, but right here, let's keep things in order. So I decided, when I'm in my pipe nook, that's a device-free zone, and it's worked out really well for me to do that. So anyways, I don't want to get too long here, so I'll get off that. But something that occurred while I was on my patrol is something that is going to tie into my first monthly devotional video. I'm going to start on the 29th. And I just think it's kind of cool how, I started with a theme early in the month when I did my contemplations video on the cost of conflict. And at that point, that kind of started the ball rolling as I prepared for the rest of the month. And these things just kind of have a way of presenting themselves to you. Excuse me, it's starting to warm up. In North Texas, it starts warming up around 7 o'clock. So trying to get this done before it hits 107 like it did yesterday. But these things just kind of find you. Just good examples of things that mean something to you. We had a call. I won't give any names or anything, of course. It was a father that was concerned about his son, who was he had high functioning autism, and he was worried that he was going to try to hurt himself. He had some depression issues and things like that. So we get there. We talk to his dad for a little bit. He's inside. He's had some some violent outburst tendencies for that, and just had a situation a few weeks ago where he had a little episode, and the episode kind of was involving another family member, and the agency, police agency that was on where they were at the time, they respond to the disturbance, and immediately just grab him by the arm and start trying to cuff him. And he fights back a little bit, kind of pushes back some, and that kind of gets him into some more trouble. He gets done with that. We see he's starting to have some issues again. So we go and talk to him, and the dad kind of gives us the synopsis of what had happened before. So we're going in there to talk to him, and he's a young guy, early 20s, and he's not pacing but kind of shifting his feet aggressively and has his fist balled up, and insists that he's not going anywhere. And when I'm in a position where someone has already talked about wanting to hurt themselves, I can't leave. I won't leave, even if I could. I wouldn't have done it. So we're talking to the guy, and he's just kind of belligerent a little bit. And so I'm thinking to my partner, we always partner up on these any kind of disturbances. So he came out to the scene as well. And, we're both thinking we got to approach this with some tact, because we don't want an episode like before. Because that kind of thing all it's going to do is cause more trouble to be upon somebody that's already troubled, as it were. We got to get him the help that he needs. So we go in there and we just talk to him like he's a person. We respectfully talk to him, give an ear to what he has to say. And he mentioned before he had some girl problems and things like that, and wanted someone to talk to, and said that and made several comments about wanting to overdose on pain medication. So at that point, I'm like, we got to do something about this. So anyways, just to make a long story short, by calmly talking to him and making him feel heard, making him feel like we understood and empathized with him, he eventually started to relax, and we was able to cut up a little bit. He had some bad experiences at some other psychiatric type places, and so we tell him about this place that we have, and he even mentions he thought he remembered going there. And I said, yeah, you've already been there, so you know it's a good place. And I told him, hey, it's a good facility. They're gonna give you all the help that you need. And he had some doctors before, psychiatrists type that. And I don't know, because I've never had a discussion with the doctors, but it just seemed like they wanted to listen to him for a little bit and then write up some prescriptions and send him on his way. And that's kind of one of the problems that we face now with kind of the way medicine has gotten. It's just throw a script at them and catch them on the next time. And I say this because later on, the mother is gathering up all the prescriptions, and my gosh, he's taking, those plastic grocery sacks that you get at the supermarket, full of different things. And I just couldn't believe how much medication he was on. I was thinking, well, perhaps he's either forgetting to take some of those, or there's just so many he's taking. The poor guy is a walking chemical plant, it looks like. So, we talk him down a little bit from the ledge, so to speak, and he agrees to go with us. Um, and he doesn't like restraints or anything. And in a case like that, we have to do restrain. He kind of gravitated to me a little bit, and eventually got to where he even put his hands out, and he accepted the fact that this was going to happen, and we kind of built a rapport there. And I thought something great had been accomplished, even though it didn't seem like it. To some, it wasn't some big valiant act, going into a burning building or facing gunfire. But I felt like something got accomplished in that. We got him to the facility. We were able to continue to talk on the way. It's about a 30-minute drive. We let him, put on his favorite station, let him, have his music, when we got there. And he was calm, not violent at all. And he even sat down while we waited for the nurse or the doctor to come greet us in the lobby. And he sat down and talked to me. And he said, I want to tell you what I'm feeling, but I don't know how. And he said, I feel like Beauty and the Beast. And I said, okay. That's an old movie, probably before his time even. It was when I was a kid. And because he looked at himself that way. And he looked at me and he said, because he looked at himself as not normal. And I can't remember exactly how he'd said it. I'm talking a lot and I can't keep my pipe lit. But he considered himself and he considered me, and he stated that I was normal. And I said, whoa, bud, nothing's normal. I told him nothing, society has kind of created its own definition of what normal is. And I think that's what gets some people in a bad way. He says he's depressed because he knows he's different than everybody else. And I thought, wow, that's just kind of where we're in some aspects we've kind of gotten as a society. And that stuck with me most of the night, my partner as well. But we was able to get him the encouragement he needs, and I don't know what the outcome is. I'll probably be checking up with him from time to time. But that was something that where one agency decided to go with brute force, and it ended so badly. Me and my partner were able to go into with kindness and accomplish more than the brute force ever could do. And that kind of goes into, and I'll just kind of give a little bit of a spoiler into the topic of the devotional that's coming up, is a soft answer turns away wrath. And we got to see that today. And I was very satisfied with the way that it turned out. And it just goes to show how just some rational, logical thought and just elements of kindness and decency go so much further than any kind of aggression could ever go. And I just wanted to share that. I know we're going on a little off past 14 minutes, so didn't mean to keep you that long. I'm going to go read a little bit while I finish the rest of my pipe and get ready to start again tonight. So with that, I just wanted to wish everybody all the best. Here's the good times, more pipe.